He took this challenge to Beaubourg and to Bourdieu for Baudrillard to make the alienated masses reappear in this new light. Their somnambulant state, to be sure, wasn't exactly revolution on a march. A long march wouldn't suffice. And yet, it was conceivable that their stubborn literality offered a new form of resistance. Enacting an anti-media strategy within the media, they responded to the relentless assault of communication simply by absorbing everything. Accident, natural catastrophes, terrorist attack, with the same cataleptic unanimity, virtually blocking the process of communication. Acting as agent provocateur of information overload, they turned it into a black hole. I'll stop here. Thank you.
I promised him to leave for administrative duties, but I lied. Now I stay. Yes, because I'm also a victim of this time, only a little bit younger than he is. And I have been where in 61, where the Pompidou is now. And I really liked this place at that time, the meat market, where you could eat very wonderfully at 5 o'clock in the morning, you know. So, and now I'm so happy that this ugly building is going to go down under its own implosion. And your interpretation is even much better. The masses with their feet have kind of voted to treat it as a platform to watch Paris up there, and the arts down there can go to hell. You know? Unfortunately, Avital Ronel has just a Salon Ronel in the Pompidou. So hopefully, yeah, and I think she wrote me she got quite an audience there. So this audience has also helped to bring it down. You know? So, but the main point is really 2 points I would like to emphasize in your. The first thing, really, you are very good to remind us what was special in Baudrillard. You know, this is, he became himself the provocateur, the masses, the non-organization man. You know, came and had this habit, this attitude of by embracing or bringing it to the point, to the extreme, to also demonstrate the absurdity of it. That is certainly, I think, in this book, America, for example. But it's an absurdity which is not condescending, sondern is revealing. And that is a big difference. You can read, even in his book America, he appreciates the rawness, that there is the future. You see the future. You wouldn't believe it, but it is still there. Not is this way. And consumerism, you know, is another form in which capitalism tries to be socialism. You know, so totally right. That's also a good point. If it's the same as fascism, I'm not so sure, because, you know, in terms of death, there was a difference. Obviously,
definitely.
You know, you can eat and smoke yourself to death, but that's a similar experience. The fascist thought of Mussolini come after you, like in the film 1900 from Bertolucci. Remember that this is good thing. The second thing, now I think, because I couldn't find anybody in France who understands media or technology, for that matter. And I asked, well, why? But I understand on one hand, because they're all Cartesian. They all think still they are the owner and master of nature. You know, and there is a goal, and there are tools, there are means, and then you do that. And they find in their everyday life, they still think like that. Even if they are no way different from us, you know, it works, it does it. And we are just participating and generating if we are lucky, you know. So, but no, they don't believe it. And why don't they understand media philosophy? I always thought, why is that so? And then you said, there's these idiots after 69, this is Bernard Levy and
the
Glücksmann and this kind,
the ex-Maoist.
Right, the young philosophers who had believed so strongly in Mao and the revolution, then turned around in their disappointment and became very like straight guys.
Media stars.
And used the media, were very good in media, still are in some way. But this is not media philosophy. That is exactly is the opposite of that. Because they use media as an instrument, as a tool for their own ambition and so on. And they are in no way really infected by media. They don't have the openness media allows you. Also Enzensberger, nicht Hans Magnus Enzensberger, it's Berger actually, is his real name, you know. It's always it's a pronunciation, you know. He's a poet. He's one of our great poets and writer. And as a media theorist, he wrote actually only one very influential article on that. And his main idea was really his vision that we become, that the media for the masses becomes back in the hand of the masses. We all have now our video recorder and so on. Also, he became more true than he ever imagined. He's still alive, and I wonder if he owns a flip video or things like that.
Cell phones.
I'm not sure. But the point also here is that the power structure has not changed in a way that suddenly the masses are in power. So that the idea of power itself became obsolete. So we have to find different ways to identify our enemies. When it was so easy before, authorities, teach us, so they go after them. But no, now we are the teachers and the authority, you know, and we have to see, no, I'm not, you know. I tell you what I think, but what you do, I don't care, you know. So this is no masters, no slaves in ideology, and openness, I think, Baudrillard not only thought like that, someone demonstrated in his own way of existing. When he was here, he was such a good guy, you know, wise and good guy.
When you're talking about how media, the perception of media changed from a kind of top-down, directive, kind of hypodermic theory to a more Marxist, you know, Althusserian ideological state apparatus view to a much more removed, diffused view with Baudrillard. How would you compare that, say, to someone like Stuart Hall, who sees media as an inherently contested object with various levels of acceptance or resistance?
Well, it's of course interesting to introduce difference and discrimination in something that is being presented like that as a blog. But what Baudrillard had in mind was really the kind of analysis that was provided by McLuhan. Right? In other words, whatever the different level that exists, what becomes prevalent is not the message that's being vehiculated by the fact that we all create a media environment. You know, whether there's distinction between that, what happens is that the environment, the form of the media as form, the medium, and not the news that vehiculate, and that could be from the left, from the right, from this or that. It is a form that becomes the prevalent element. The media becomes the new reality in which we live. So within this new reality, reality in which we live, you could reintroduce differences of class, differences of races, and all that. But basically, what is massive is the fact that we live in the media. As soon as we turn off the cell phone, the television, and all that, we are caught by the machine. We live in another world. And I'm talking not in terms of just one element, you know, a cell phone or this or that, but now we are caught in the media. The media is a new universe in which we are. Not because it is a media, but because, like the consumer society itself, we consume science. And at this point, as I mentioned otherwise, we consume not even signs which carry significance or meaning, but corpuscles that travel at a high speed. The idea that you could change anything through the media is, of course, beautiful, but it is also, I think, idealistic, because what we don't understand is that the media itself create an impossibility of any transmission of knowledge, of any propagation of any counter-ideology, etc., etc. All the attempts that have been made, including the Radio Pirate who were involved at one time with Guattari and Virilio, etc. It was beautiful, but of course, at the level of the district, it worked a little bit, but like the free station in New York, no one watches them. It has no effect whatsoever. And even if they watch them, they would still be looking at the television instead of just living.